Hi there. So today I thought I could share some highlights from a conversation I had earlier this week with friend and healer Dr. Lisa Avila. Lisa's a chiropractor, herbologist, kinesiologist, and Reiki master, among other things, and generally amazing human being. And she and I talked about the fight, flight, freeze response that's happening really around the world right now, and what one can do with the breathing technique to reduce that inside oneself. And then our conversation just ranged to some of the broader questions around what all of this means for us as a collective. So I hope this is helpful in some way, and thanks for listening.
But the one that applies specifically here is the fight and flight response, and that's the one that we most know about. When that system is initiated, the survival systems are initiated in order to be completed. So the loop starts and it goes around and it completes, and then your body resets itself back to homeostasis. The problem that we have is when the loop is never completed, meaning we weren't able to do anything with the activation. We had to freeze.
So once you know, so the first step is awareness. Then you tune into it and you realize, okay, I'm in this state, either on an ongoing basis these days, or somehow something's triggered it. So then what?
But there are some very, very basic things that we can all do that will help. And I can't say it enough. One of the things you can do for yourself, by yourself, is full wave breath. Will do two very important things. It will calm the nervous system, and it will also start to exercise the part of the body that is most affected by COVID-19, which is the lungs. But it is a 3-part breathing protocol where you breathe into your lower abdomen, you pull in more air and breathe into your solar plexus, and you pull in more air and you breathe into the upper part of your chest. And then when you breathe out, what you're aiming to do, and it takes a little bit of practice, is breathe out first from the chest, second from the solar plexus, and last from the lower abdomen. So what it looks like is like if the person's head is over here, right, and the feet are over here, breathe in 1, breathe in 2, breathe in 3. Breathe out 1, breathe out 2, breathe out 3. But we are hitting a reset button. And that reset button, that ability to hit that reset button and reconfigure how your nervous system is going to work. Remember, it 2 separate things. It exercises the lung bases, which for most people don't really get a ton of exercise, but it also resets nervous system function, and it can bring you very present very quickly. Because worry is not present. Worry is the future, worry is the past, but worry isn't right now. And any type of breath practice is going to pull you so present.
So what's, from your existentially or metaphysically, or however the broadest perspective you can take is, what's really going on?
I think we are opening up to a massive influx of light. But I do think that it does make sense to me that on the heels of everything that's going on the heels of every person in charge that is not really taking a very people matter most approach, that we are, as a globe, responding to that, and responding to that by recalibrating and reconfiguring. But I realize that this, just to finish that off, I don't mean for a second to say if someone's grandmother dies, you know, it's not a really sad thing. So I want to make sure that that's in context.
Yes, it's interesting to me, and almost like pulling in 2 opposite directions. Is, on the one hand, it seems to have an almost Darwinian quality about it. Yet at the same time, it does feel like it's pushing for higher frequency, higher consciousness.
Yeah.
At the same time.
Yeah.
They're hard to reconcile for me, those 2 things.
Well, I can only tell you from my studying, right? And my particular spiritual teachers, they've all been wonderful, but the consensus is that the earth requires evolution. In some ways, from the standpoint of Gaia, that she has to repair
Mm.
the impact of human beings walking on the planet. And also from the standpoint of the consciousness of people. And so the influx of light is going to have to do with that kind of spiritual emotional evolution, where it's no longer going to be a sort of base emotion level reactionary populace, because the goal eventually is Christ consciousness, right? And again, this is my teachings with my particular teachers, but the eventual goal is Christ consciousness. The eventual goal is, I love you deeply with my whole heart, but I don't require anything from you in return. But for us to get there, we have to release something very particular, again, from my training, which is judgment over one another. Because as long as we judge one another, we are not in the same place. It is a boundaried place that does not allow us to share the same heart.